Hi, I'm Jania Bailey, CEO of FranNet. Welcome back to our series on business ownership. And in today's segment, we're going to get into myths about franchising. Myth number one. I say franchising, you typically think fast food. And everyone does. They think fast food or retail. So what we're going to do is debunk that myth. There are over 3,600, actually more like 4,000 at this time, different franchise companies in more than 90 industries. There are over 900,000 operating units throughout the US and Canada. When you look at some of the major types of businesses, we see everything from business services, and that might be working for a business, IT services, automotive, commercial and residential, personal services, and that could be everything from a hair salon to a yoga fitness center, and lots of retail products and services. So a lot of options that don't include fast food. Myth number two. Franchises succeed because of the quality of the product. So we've got to wait until we have the absolute very best whatever. Well, not true. I want you to think about, can you make a hamburger better than McDonald's? Everybody watching this would say yes. So McDonald's is successful not because they have the absolute best hamburger you've ever had. What is it that makes them successful? It's the systems. In the first segment, we talked about that business system is the real magic behind a franchise. And it's a system that they have for marketing, for sales, for operations, accounting, how to train the employees to day after day be able to deliver the same level of product and service. Business system. Myth three. Successful franchises emerge in new industries, and they have no competition. Reality? Successful franchises emerge from well-established industries, and they go into those industries and they create consolidation. Competition is good. It shows that there's a market for that product or services. You won't see franchises come out in a brand new segment of an industry. Myth number four, franchises are expensive. Well, the reality is franchises are much more affordable than you think. Now, you think fast food, you're right, very expensive, $1 million plus. But when you look at all of these different types of concepts we've talked about, over $500,000 is less than 20% of the franchise industry. You look at the slice and dice. Most of the concepts our clients look at tend to be in that $250,000 to $500,000 range. So there, we've got 24% of those 4,000 concepts to look at. The important thing to remember is there's no correlation between the cost of the franchise and the return on your investment. Speaking of investment, how much money are you going to need? 25 to 30% is the rule of thumb. Now, this has always been true. When I was in banking and we did a lot of SBA loans, you're going to need 25 to 30% of your money because they are loans, not investments being made by the bank. So when you look at the investment, I always use $100,000 because it's kind of easy to talk about. You're going to need $25,000 to $30,000. The financing for the remaining investment needed is easier to obtain than you think. And there's a lot of different ways to go about it. And it could be, you're going to get your 25 to 30% out of your personal savings. Maybe you have a relative or a partner that's going to be involved with you. Home equity line. Some people have that much equity in their homes, and others in parts of the country laugh and say there's no such thing. But that is an option. The seller financing, you remember in the first segment we talked about that if it is a resale, a lot of times the seller will be the bank. Now, there's one type of financing option most people aren't familiar with until they look into franchising because we talk about it a lot. And that's that you can use funds from your 401k or IRA tax-free and penalty-free as an investment. And I'm going to explain this because it does throw a lot of people. We've all been told you can't touch that. But what you would do, let's imagine you have $200,000 in your 401k and you're wanting to purchase a franchise with a total investment of $100,000. Through this mechanism, you can't do it yourself, and you need to be sure you're using a well-proven, reputable company that has a track record here. They're going to sell $100,000 off of your investments, hold the cash in your 401k. They then purchase $100,000 in your new franchise LLC. So Jania Bailey Inc. now has a $100,000 investment from my 401k. As my company becomes more profitable and it's up and running, I will set up, or we do it from the beginning, we actually set up like a profit sharing plan that repays the 401k. So as my company grows in value, so does my 401k or IRA. Myth number 5. High return requires a high investment. And this is where people tell me, Jana, that's great. I can get a concept for $150,000, $200,000, but I really don't want a $30,000 a year job as a result of risking my investment. I don't blame you. The fact is there is no correlation between the investment you make and the potential return. Many of the businesses that we help people look at are service businesses. And service businesses tend not to require that bricks and mortar and all the special signage and all the fancy equipment, and they don't have to be in an A-location shopping center. So their initial investment is much less. They start cash flowing positive much quicker. This is something that people are surprised to learn. Myth number 6, industry experience is required. So I need to pick a franchise that aligns with my background. Not true. Franchisors are looking for people who will follow their system. They don't want someone who will come in and say, well, when I used to be with, and we did. They want people that'll focus on being an owner, working on the business, not in the business. Now, I'm going to give you an example of this. At one point in my career, I was a regional manager for a hair care franchise. And our worst performing franchisees were hairdressers. And that threw everybody. We really didn't want hairdressers as the owner of these franchises because the hairdresser owner tended to stand behind the chair. And they would talk about how busy they were. Well, they were, because they were doing hair from the time they got there till they left. What they were not doing was running the business. They were not working on advertising. They were not working on recruiting new stylists. They were not working on training the stylists that they had. They were doing hair. They worked in the business. So franchisors want to be sure you're going to work on the business, and they can teach you what you need to know about the industry. You do not have to be an expert in that field. Thank you for joining us today. To learn more about business ownership, visit our website, FranNet.com.